Now, we followed Friedman for many, many years. We got the freedom and the safety. We are the heirs of Friedman every time we vote, every time we speak publicly, every time we make a decision in the free market. But Friedman, like Mr. Rooney, the late Mr. Rooney, who died before the stock market crash, I don't know, that's way lucky. But anyway, and he said, although very, very sad for his family, but probably would have broken his heart. But anyway, because he was an honest guy, and I don't think we would have liked to have seen what's happened. But anyway, Friedman wanted to go farther than this, because Friedman not only was an economist, not only was a political scientist, not only was a brilliant writer and expositor in books and on television, but he had a faith in the individual. And it had to do with what he saw in education. Now, how many of, I've been a teacher off and on my whole adult life. How many in this room have either are or have been teachers? Lots, great, great. Well, I started teaching in 1971 at American University in Washington, D.C. And the students were so-so. They were mostly high all the time, but even so, they were pretty good. And and then I taught at UC Santa Cruz, and there the students were all high all the time, but even so, they were pretty good. And then I taught at Pepperdine, and the students there were never high, but actually they weren't very good students. I don't know what to make of that. But anyway, but they were very sweet kids and very lovable kids. But I noticed as time went on that the students did less and less and less work. And there seemed to be a problem with the students and a problem with education. And if the teachers did not demand that the kids work, the kids simply wouldn't work. And statistics bear this out. After the World War, the statistics show that educational attainment rose and rose and rose until around the early 70s, and then it started to fall. Incidentally, the years of peak performance on the SAT, the year of peak performance on the SAT, 73, 74, was also the highest year for average hourly wages in the U.S. I don't know what the connection is there, if any, but that is a fact. Anyway, so I saw this happening, and I also saw the statistics happening, and I also saw anecdotal evidence of it, which is so astonishing. I feel I must share it with you. Last summer of 07, not summer of 08, I was privileged to be the co-host of a very deep intellectual show on a very deep intellectual network called VH1. And the show was called America's Most Smartest Model. And we took 16, yes, that's its real title. We took 16,000 young men and women, 8,000 men, 8,000 women roughly, and we gave them tests and winnowed them down to 8 men and 8 women who were supposedly America's most smartest aspiring models. And there are laws in California, they can't say America's most smartest hookers. So we winnowed them down, and we got to a place where we had just 8 men and 8 women. We would ask them questions like, name 5 rivers in the United States of America? Not one of them could name 5 rivers. What is the official language of Australia? Young Miss Rooney, would you care to guess what they said the official language of Australia was? Australian. Australian, right. And not English? No. No, Australian. Okay, name 5 kinds of trees. Of the 16, only a couple could name 5 kinds of trees. So one day, after we'd been shooting for a few weeks, I ran into 2 of the contestants out in the parking lot on a beautiful August day, and the weather in LA is fantastic. It was a beautiful day. And I said to these 2, a young man and a young woman, both, wait, before I say this, did anyone here to USC? Okay, because the other day I was telling this story to some people on an airplane. It turned out that one of them had gone to USC, and he got very offended with this. Anyway, they're both from USC, and I said to them, well, we're going to miss you guys, because they had just been kicked off the show. We're going to miss you guys. And they said, we're going to really miss you too, Ben. We're really going to miss you. Gosh, you know so much stuff. It's just amazing. And I said, well, part of that is because I'm so much older than you. And they said, yeah, how old are you? And I said, well, why don't we try to figure it out? I said, I was born November 25th, 1944, and it's now, well, let's say August 20th, 2007. How old am I? So they say, we don't know. I said, well, could you try to figure it out? Well, they said, do you have a calculator? No, I don't have a calculator. Could you try to figure it out in your head? No, we can't do that. Okay, I said, well, I'm 62. I said, they said, wow, you're that old. I said, yeah, I'm that old. I said, do you have any idea who was president when I was born? The young man, quick as a shot, says, Abraham Lincoln. I said, no, not Abraham Lincoln. I said, want to guess again? Young woman says, Ronald Reagan. No, not Ronald Reagan. See if can you think of any other presidents? No. Okay. I said, well, it was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Oh, we've heard of him. Great, you've heard of him. That's really good. You're college juniors, you've heard of him. That's really good. I said, when I was born in November of 1944, a giant international cataclysm was taking place. What was it? We don't know. Well, I'm going to make it really, really simple for you. It was a conflict. It was worldwide in scope, and it was not the first of its kind. What was it? So they say, the young man says, Civil War? I said, no, not the Civil War. Young woman says, Vietnam War? No, not the Vietnam War. Well, we can't guess. It was World War II. Oh, we've heard of that. Great, you've heard of that. That's really good. Okay, so I said, do you know who we fought against in World War II? Young man, quick as a shot, says, Germany. I said, right, Germany, very good. Who else did we fight against in World War II? Young woman says, Russia. I said, no, Russia was on our side, and a very good thing, too. And the young man says, Germany. I said, wait, you already said Germany. You already said those. Young woman says, Russia. I said, wait, you already said Russia, and I said that wasn't right. So they think. They say, we can't think then. I said, all right, well, I'm going to make it really simple for you. We fought World War II in the European theater of operations and in the Pacific theater of operations. Who did we fight against in the Pacific theater of operations? So the young man, without a second's hesitation, says, Germany. I said, no, Germany is not in the Pacific. And the young woman, without instantly afterwards, says, Russia. I said, no, I've already told you Russia was our ally in World War II. So I said, look, I'm going to make this really, really, really easy for you. The country we fought against is an island nation, and it makes very, very good quality automobiles. Can you guess what it was? Young man says, Germany. No. It was Japan, I said. It was Japan. Young woman says, we fought a war against Japan. Who won? So I said to these people, well, all right, I said, it's okay. You know, I grew up in Washington, D.C., and there's a lot of history there. So this just all comes kind of naturally to me. I imagine if you grew up somewhere else, it wouldn't come quite as naturally to you. So the young woman says, oh, Washington, D.C., where it rains all the time, they have those big trees. I said, no, that's Washington State. And she said, well, what's the difference? And I said, well, Washington, D.C. is this little quadrangle in between Maryland and Virginia where the federal government is located. And it is true, it does rain a great deal there sometimes here, and there are some pretty big trees in Rock Creek Park. But what you're thinking of is the state of Washington, where it's in the Pacific Northwest, and it does rain a great deal there. And along the coast, there's very good soil, and there are enormous trees. And she says to him, which is which again? This is a USC junior. This is American education. So I expressed a little bit of astonishment. She said, well, maybe you could help me with something, said the young woman. I am a junior. Yes, I said I knew that. And I'm having my junior semester abroad coming up. Good. Where are you going to study? Well, she said, that's what I wanted to ask you about. I have a choice of studying either in Madrid or London. And I said, I would take London in a second. She said, well, I know London is a great place. She said, but I've studied Spanish for 3 years, so I think I could get along in Madrid in Spanish. And I said, well, what do you think they speak in London? And she said, I don't know. Okay.